We are coming to you from right outside the Parliament. 8 days to go for the winter session of the Parliament to conclude, and just 1 day to go for the most important highlight of this session, the debate on the Constitution to begin. That's going to happen tomorrow, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself will be responding to the debate in the lower house of the Parliament on Saturday. But let's talk about today. Yes, of course, we saw the logjam prevalent even yesterday, but of course, in the Lok Sabha, a significant amount of business was also done. We saw the Railway Amendment Bill getting passed yesterday by the lower house, by the Lok Sabha. There was also discussion that began on the disaster management bill. Both these bills are very important. If you talk about the Railway Amendment Bill, it looks at improving the working of the Railway Board, which is central to the working of Indian Railways. But of course, opposition also raised some objections to it, saying that it centralizes and puts a lot of autonomy on the Railway Board. But the bill was passed, which also is symbolic of the fact that some business was done in the Lok Sabha. But when the discussion was happening with regard to the disaster management bill, there was an altercation between Jyotiraditya Scindia, Telecom Minister, and Kalyan Banerjee, TMC MP. Kalyan Banerjee, of course, apologized for his remarks, which were seen as derogatory to Jyotiraditya Scindia and also to women. And of course, women MPs of NDA also spoke to the Speaker, saying that this kind of behavior is not appropriate. That's what happened yesterday. We also saw Rahul Gandhi meet with the Speaker and request him for running of the House. He said that the Congress party will cooperate with the running of the House, or the functioning of the House, because it wants the House to function. So, and of course, the India allies came together, and they also spoke about the resolution they have submitted to the Rajya Sabha Secretariat with regard to the no confidence motion against Jagdeep Dhankhar, Rajya Sabha Chairperson, saying that he was only schooling them, not giving them space or time to raise their issues. And this is, they allege that this has been happening for the last 3 years. We'll have to wait and see if that motion really gets approved, because remember, there are technicalities attached with it. 14-day prior notice is important. At the same time, it also, the opposition does not have the number, so it is more of a political move. It's more of a move to show how upset they are with the working of the House. Today we'll have to see if the politics of conflict actually assumes some sense of convergence, and if some legislative agenda gets taken up. Let's go across to my colleague Aishwarya, who will give us a lowdown on what all is expected today. Aishwarya, we know that yesterday the India bloc allies had a press conference in which there was a sense that things have now come to a point of no return. Do we see any outreach from the government's side today, and what are the preparations with regard to tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a highlight of the session with a debate on Constitution beginning tomorrow?
Well, certainly, Vasudha, and tomorrow marks the important day as well, because it's the anniversary of the Parliament attack, and we will see that event happening in the Parliament, where all the top leaders, including President of India and Vice President, also will be at the Parliament. But this will all be taking place amid of the confrontation that we have seen between the opposition and the Treasury benches as far as the lower house and the upper house is concerned on different issues. But it is the regional parties who have raised their own concerns. The Trinamool Congress, for the very first time, was an ally of the Congress party, lashing out at the Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party, who are the two major national parties, stating that these two national parties are blocking the way of the regional parties as they want to raise their own issues specific to their states. They also want funds released from the centre on different grounds, but it is Bharatiya Janata Party and Congress not letting the Parliament function. There had been blame game which is going on, but at 10:15 a.m. is the time when the Congress MPs will be meeting at the Congress Parliamentary Party office, and they will be strategizing further. Yesterday, remember, it was the leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi who also met the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and stated that they want the House to function, but it is the Treasury benches who are not allowing, amid the allegations that the Bharatiya Janata Party have levelled on the Congress party over the links between Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and George Soros Foundation. That statement is something that the Bharatiya Janata Party is constantly demanding on. It is on the other side, in the lower house at the later half yesterday, we saw how the house got adjourned after the remarks, the derogatory remarks perhaps, that were made by Trinamool Congress MP Kalyan Banerjee to Jyotiraditya Scindia. After that, those remarks were expunged, but it is the Bharatiya Janata Party female MPs who are all set to protest against the Trinamool Congress as well. So that will be a showdown today as well. Confrontation might continue. Whether there would be some work that could be done in both the lower house or the upper house is something that remains to be seen. But important legislative bills are to be tabled, including the disaster management bill. There is also the readjustment of the scheduled tribes in the assembly as far as Goa state is concerned. That is to be come up in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha, again the banking amendment bill. So whether that will get in that will be seen as far as tabling of those bills are concerned. There would be time for that or not, or again we will see adjournments after adjournments is something that remains to be seen.
Well, thank you, Aishwarya. We'll keep coming back to you for more details on this. Unscheduled adjournments is what we've seen in the last few days. Let me go across to my guest now. Aditi Fadnis, political analyst, author, senior journalist, joins us. We also have Anila Singh of the BJP and Selan Tharanidharan of the DMK. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast, and also good morning to you. Aditi Fadnis, to you first. Ma'am, you've seen several parliament sessions, and in the last few days, ever since the winter session began, what do you think was the biggest takeaway? What do you think was the most striking feature of the way the session was run? Because it seems to me that things are also coming to a point of no return. There is a sense of trust deficit, and it seems like both fronts seem to be really lacking in efforts to ensure that there is some constructive dialogue.
You're absolutely right, Vasudha, and I think the coming days are going to see further deepening of this fracture between the opposition and the treasury benches. Every time the opposition tries to tell the government that it wants business done, something from the government happens which derails the proceedings, and then from the opposition. So the George Soros controversy, for instance, is completely unnecessary and inadmissible, at least in Parliament. You can debate it outside Parliament, you can debate it in on other political fora, but George Soros is not a member of Parliament. His foundation is not registered in India. He is not that document which is supposed to detail the connections has not been tabled in Parliament. So I cannot understand how you can have the raising of George Soros on the floor of the House. I mean, I don't know what the presiding officers are going to do, but you cannot clearly have a debate on that, as part of parliamentary proceedings, because there are clear rules for what can be debated in Parliament and what cannot be debated in Parliament. That apart, the opposition has certain misgivings about the government's actions. I think it's right to ask for a debate on that, and you may not agree on adjournment, but you need to debate that. Part of that demand has been met by the debate that will take place tomorrow, which is on the Constitution, but there is a lot left on the slate, which still needs to be addressed.
Right. Anila Singh of the BJP. Anila, would you say that there could have been something more that the Rajya Sabha chairperson could have done, at least with regard to ensuring that there's not complete breakdown of trust? Because yesterday the opposition allies came together and they said that, they are being schooled and there's no space or there's no time that's given to them. There were a string of complaints that they raised, and it was not just one party, several parties. Do you think that this is completely a political move aimed at targeting the chairperson, or do you think that there are some valid concerns there which possibly the chairperson could have adhered by?
My Ram Ram to all. And we have seen that since Narendra Modi ji has become the Prime Minister of our country, the opposition, they will keep targeting Narendra Modi ji. They will keep targeting speakers of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. They will keep targeting ED. They will keep targeting Supreme Court. They will keep targeting Election Commission. So the conclusion is that they have become a crying baby. Now the latest is they are crying for each other. Means TMC says Congress is a bad party, then RJD is a bad party, Congress says something else, Samajwadi attacks on Congress and other political parties. So now they are crying amongst themselves, Rudali. They have become Rudalis. So I need to say one thing: when speaker is sitting on the chair, for him it doesn't matter that a person is from which political party. He is there to listen everybody, to maintain the decorum of the House. But it is very unfortunate that the political parties like TMC or the Congress or any other political party, they come to the parliament just to create the ruckus. And they forget the amount of hard-earned taxpayers' money goes down the drain. It is almost 1.5 crores of rupees per hour expenditure in Lok Sabha and 1.2 in Rajya Sabha, crores. So just imagine when they do not
The
allow
opposition
the
has been
parliament
saying
to
that it is the
function.
treasury benches or the government which is actually, Anila ma'am, the government has been, the opposition has been saying that it's the treasury benches or the government by raising the Soros issue is also stalling, the proceedings of the parliament. In fact, they're saying that this is the first time that the treasury benches or the government is stalling this. What would you respond to that? Because that seems to be a recurrent complaint that they also seem to be having.
No. As I mentioned earlier, that they are targeting Mr. Dhankhar here, and they are saying that the ruling government member of parliaments, they are trying to destabilize the debate of the parliament or the Rajya Sabha whatsoever. I just have to say one thing, that the present political party who is in power in the center, they have got all the proofs that how the mother-son duo are involved in the relationship of a person known as George Soros, who is indulged in anti-India activities, and how this mother and son, they're involved. If they think, if the Congress thinks especially that their top leadership is not involved, and so, then please come out, show your facts and figures. Here we are going to show facts and figures. So if you have got some sort of explanation, so please come out and show it to the world and tell that you are not related anywhere to George Soros. You can't do that. So when present member of
has also been
parliament
talking
of a
about how
political
there are
party,
certain platforms where these issues can be raised. Salem Dharanidharan, to you now, there are also issues that are very critical to the way Tamil Nadu is run, to the people of Tamil Nadu, be it the tungsten mining, case, or for that matter, even flood management, the dues that Tamil Nadu deserves for the kind of disasters that it faced. Do you think a lot of these issues have completely gotten sidelined because the focus has been only on certain national issues which either the BJP or the Congress have been raising?
Firstly, I'd like to thank the BJP spokesperson. When she started, she said, we've been targeting a lot of institutions and agencies. I think that's exactly the job of the opposition, to keep the treasury bench, rather the ruling party, in check. What is a parliament? Parliament is where we discuss issues, and not just discuss, but also put the ruling party under check. What BJP thinks is whatever they bring about, the opposition should clap hands and say yes. No, in a democracy, parliamentary democracy, there will be dissent. We'll have to talk uncomfortable topics which the BJP does not like. On the day one, the parliament convened, we wanted to talk about a corporate company that was indicted in US, right? And then we wanted to talk about the violence in UP. But BJP didn't allow us to do so. They only want to discuss what they want to discuss. So now coming back to your question, not just us, TMC has some demands. Other India Alliance partners had demands. So we wanted to talk a range of issues, but none of it was accepted in the parliament. Maybe on the tungsten mining scheme, Kanimolu spoke, appreciable, but most of the issues that we wanted to discuss were not approved by the speaker, and that is the problem. It's not that we have a problem within the India bloc. In India bloc, we have a consensus, right? And even the Congress has agreed to demands of all the regional parties. But it is the Speaker of the House who is not allowing us to talk. The Speaker only wants to bring about issues that will favor the BJP. Parliament is not a place where you kind of do politics and try to increase your prospects of garnering more votes. Parliament is a place where you discuss policies, discuss issues of utmost importance to the country and the people of this country. The BJP should understand that opposition has got 65% vote share. So the voice in parliament of the opposition politicians are not the voice of the opposition politicians alone. It's the voice of 65% of India. When DMK politician will speak, that reflects the voice of entire people of Tamil Nadu. Similarly, if a parliamentarian from West Bengal will speak, there's the voice of entire West Bengal. When you're not allowing us to speak, you're disrespecting 65% of Indians. And then the voice of people in Tamil Nadu and voice of people in West Bengal.
Right.
The BJP doesn't understand, right? Why can't we have a discussion,
Okay,
let's say, on
let
the
me get in
violence in
Aditi Fadnis here. Aditi ma'am, when it comes to these constant disruptions, adjournments that we've been witnessing in the past 2 weeks, as somebody who has been covering the parliament, I also feel that there's a certain sense of uncertainty. What is going to happen today. And yesterday, when I was looking at the discussions when it came to the railway amendment bill or disaster management bill, I also felt that many of these MPs were not completely prepared as they used to be. In earlier times, they were looking at a similar stream of criticism, or for that matter, even support. What kind of impact mentally does this have, does this kind of running of the parliament have on MPs themselves, or for that matter, even people of the country, when it comes to how they look at the parliament, their duties and their expectations?
You're absolutely right, Vasudha. It's very distressing to find that MPs debate, whether opposition or ruling party, join debates without adequately preparing, without having facts and figures on their fingertips. The late Sushil Modi, who was from the BJP, told me once that he used to spend at least 4 days before he was supposed to speak in parliament on any given subject, just preparing his facts and figures and understanding the issue on which he was going to speak. He also told me that he was appalled at the way MPs from his own party would jump into debates without adequate preparation. This is not me. This is Sushil Modi making a comment on the conduct of some MPs. So I am not here to cast aspersion or pass judgment. But certainly you and I, as people who listen to debates carefully, seriously, these pass on in the annals of history as party positions, as well as Mr. Dhankhar said, voices of people who have voted to send representatives to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. It's very distressing to find that people don't understand issues, that they don't speak properly, that they have not done enough work, and they don't understand the implications, the long-term implications of what they're saying on the floor of the House.
Absolutely, Aditi ma'am. Anila Singh, my question to you, ma'am, tomorrow is, like Aditi Fadnis also pointed out, in some ways a fig leaf to the opposition also. There's a possibility of a constructive dialogue, both the houses running, with a constitution debate happening tomorrow. What is your expectation from it? And also, is this also an attempt by the BJP to own the narrative around constitution, which was in some ways seen as responsible for the BJP's setback in both UP and Maharashtra?
See, number one, what Aditi said, she's absolutely correct. Any sensible parliamentarian, when he has to speak in parliament, he really has to do lots of research and preparation before he speaks, because it goes in record and whole of the world watches him or her when she speaks in the parliament. And it is very disheartening, as I mentioned earlier also, that any hard-earned taxpayers' money going down the drain and the policymakers creating ruckus in the House. But at the same time, I was listening to DMK's spokesperson, and he said there is absolutely peace and calmness in India Alliance, and there are no issues in between them. And we know it very well that each day one political party is targeting another political party. So DMK should not lie here. A political party which calls, like he said, 65%, they voted for the opposition. Yes, sir, absolutely. This is the beauty of the democracy. But what about your political party and your leaders who call the majority population following in this religion, following in this nation, virus, bacteria, Sanatan should be finished? This is what your political party leadership says. So do not try to tell what Bharat is, what the majority population of a country wants. So Bharatiya Janata Party understands the soul and the spirit of this great Bharat. And yes, if, as I mentioned earlier, if the Congress party thinks that they do not have, their leaders, not whole of the Congress party, their leaders do not have any relationship with the George Soros and his foundations and his affiliated foundations, please come out clear. Please come out clear. But you also do not want,
so
because we
before I
want
go to the
discuss so
opposition
many important
spokesperson,
bills.
there are also many voices which have come out and spoken on the way the parliament is being run. Sadhguru of Isha Foundation has posted on X today, and I quote, "It is disheartening to observe disruptions in the Indian parliament, particularly when we aspire to be a beacon of democracy for the world. The wealth creators and job providers of India should not become subject of political rhetoric. If there are discrepancies, that can be handled within the framework of law, but should not become a political football. Most important, that Indian businesses must thrive. It's the only way Bharat will become Bhavya Bharat." This is what Sadhguru has said. And a lot more voices coming up and speaking on how the parliament needs to run and how there needs to be consensus amongst political parties that a basic legislative agenda gets taken up. Salem Dharanidharan, more voices are coming out. There is a certain sense of frustration, not just in Congress and BJP MPs, but also, several other smaller parties that we spoke to also feel that, that there needs to be an end of political rhetoric, and, governance has to take the front seat. As somebody who also comes from one of the parties with a huge number of MPs with complete control over Tamil Nadu, what do you think the responsibility of DMK should be? Because, of course, you are part of an alliance with the India bloc, but there's also something that you owe to the people of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah, firstly, I would, if you have quoted someone else apart from Sadhguru, I've been appreciable because his credentials are as such slightly dubious, the issues that are happening in Tamil Nadu. But that apart, see, DMK as a party has always believed in giving good governance. And we stand for certain issues, and the issues have been constant over the years, such as federalism. We wanted to speak about federalism. We want to talk about fiscal federalism, funding for the recent floods and the last floods that happened last year. One nation, one election, delimitation, the census not happening, the caste census, the range of issues that we wanted to discuss. But for that, the BJP will have to cooperate, right? There is no cooperation. It can't be that one way. There has to be a compromise. I haven't seen any compromise coming from the BJP side. Why do we protest? It's not that we go the first day and we protest. We ask for adjournment motion. We want to discuss some important issues. Last year we wanted to discuss Manipur. I mean, last year in the sense before the 2025 elections, it was not discussed. Then as an opposition party, when people are being killed in Manipur, people are going homeless, isn't it our job to raise it in the parliament? And if the ruling party, the treasury bench will say, we don't want to discuss, what is the option we have? Right? How do we make our voices be heard? And when BJP spokesperson spoke, she said about DMK and Sanatan Dharma. I think I've been on your channel and explained the DMK, the party, has not been is not against any religion. I've spoken about it time and again. I don't know why the BJP time and again is trying to come and showcase DMK as an anti-Hindu party. No, DMK has done more for Hindus than what BJP has done. And again, it's also baffling that BJP is more concerned about the India Alliance than India Alliance itself, because we are all united. Of course, each party may have their own views. There may be opposing views within the alliance, but I think that's the beauty of democracy. I think even within the party, different parliamentarians or different leaders can have different views. We all sit together and talk. I don't think that's a problem. Even within the NDA alliance, Nitish Kumar has not agreed to certain bills. For example, Chandrababu Naidu has not agreed for delimitation, one nation, one election, and Waqf bill. Because they didn't have the numbers, the Waqf bill went to joint parliamentary committee. But my question is, after Prime Minister Modi has come to power, how many bills have gone to the joint parliamentary committee? In fact, in the first Modi government and second Modi government, most of the bills were actually brought into the parliament as amendments, or many of the bills are passed as financial bills because it doesn't have to go to the Rajya Sabha. Many bills which are not finance bills were packaged as money bills and then passed in lower house. The case is still pending in the Supreme Court.
Aditi
That itself shows that the disdain this government.
That's a valid point. Let me.
Yes, I'm completely out of time here. Aditi Fadnes, ma'am, last word from you. With regard to your expectations from the constitution debate, you talked about it as being one of those nice things in this parliament this time, right? Because, there's been otherwise so much disagreement over so many things. But what do you think will be the approach of each of these alliances when it comes to the constitution debate? Because I think this is also a political move by the BJP to own a narrative which they felt they lost during 2019.
2024 Lok Sabha elections. And of course, the India Alliance also wanting to ensure that it gets back some of the momentum that it had in 2024 thanks to the constitution debate controversy, and also something that it seems to have lost in the recent elections. What do you think? How do you think both the BJP and the opposition will be approaching this?
The BJP will want to clear the air. As you say, it was to the BJP's disadvantage that there was some confusion about its approach to certain elements in the constitution, especially reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. Some of its own MPs said quite clearly and quite bluntly and quite openly that they wanted the issue of reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe to be revisited. Although the Prime Minister and the Home Minister clarified at least on 7 occasions that the BJP had no such plans, that cost them in the Lok Sabha election. I think that's quite clear. So they will want to clear the air. The opposition, of course, has its own views about the way constitution is being twisted and the way it is being subverted. So they will make their own points. I'm looking forward to a really, really brilliant debate. One in which all sides will speak their mind, and I think it will be really educative for all of us as citizens of India.
Okay. Thank you, Aditi ma'am. Thank you, Anila Singh. Thank you, Salem Taranidharan, for joining me on this broadcast. Important day today. We'll have to see if politics of conflict actually makes it a point to converge into some sense of agreement on some legislative agenda. We'll have to also see if there are more meetings that are lined up. Congress party just met a few minutes ago to decide on its parliament strategy. And of course, tomorrow is when the constitution debate will begin. The Prime Minister himself will be responding to this on Saturday. And yesterday, we saw the railway amendment bill getting clear. Today, there's a lot more on agenda. There is the Goa ST bill that's going to come up. Apart from that, there are also several other bills. There's going to be a discussion that's going to proceed on the disaster management bill that started yesterday. So many things on agenda there, but all of that subject to the protests and the agitations that the opposition and also BJP parties, the NDA parties seem to have planned.